Afternoon and have a good weekend, boys and girls. Welcome to Call of War, Goias Day 13. And the northeast corner of South America now looks like this. Basically, four AI nations. One scared me, this one, Maranao, attacked me, declared war. Remember, AI nations seems to be a little bit more active, proactive in this build than I'm used to, and I didn't have any defenses along the border, so I really had to scramble to defend these two towns. But I managed to save them with air power, a little bit of force marching. Did not have to spend any gold to, if that even would have been worth it. I mean, after all, factories, buildings, they're only resources and time, of which I have plenty, and it's not rush. It's not a critical situation if I would lose anything. Other than that, I think I had zero losses. But some units are a bit banged up, like my capital garrison here. It's almost half strength, and it's not the latest. So let's talk a little bit about, well, we could go through the resource situation. Remember I had that formula day 13 times 100. So that would be 1300 everything about that. That's just for me to have a checkpoint. I'm quite a bit over this, between 1600 and almost 2000. My current bottlenecks, well, they've been the current bottlenecks for a long time, is oil and rare materials. So obviously I am building new industries in these two categories. Iraq has been friendly enough to trade me some oil for other resources, so I have agreed to have passage rights, and I consider them a friendly nation. I've put in the newspaper, which is like a bulletin board that everyone in the game can read, that I've invented this South American Trade Federation and I want to buy resources. Gotten very little response, but I guess Iraq, I got in contact with Iraq due to a previous post in the newspaper. Anyway, while looking around the world, Germany has a Central Asian colony here, Lebensraum, Drang nach Osten, and have declared war on Japan, which I have apparently have rights of passage in. And he asked me to come and help him, and I told him yes, but it's still a 2-day sailing. Germany, has this screen of France. Yeah, it would be hard to help Japan. Maybe I should, because Germany's way in the top. And I think when I checked, the newspaper has some stats. Once in a while it changes now and then. I don't know if it's every day or so, but I could tell they had 23% of the world's forces and I had like 7%. So Germany should have in average 3 times the amount of troops I have. That is obviously a gold bought army. And my number of troops are currently 150 units. So let's say they have around 450 units. That could explain why I don't understand how they have gotten to this part. Maybe they went through Iraq. Could I actually see? I don't think. No, you can't see who Iraq has been giving rights to. You can only see who they're at war with. Our popularity. Oh, that's for AI. All right. So, but I guess it's not a bad thing really for South America that the 2 out of 3 mightiest nations are at war with each other, where I'm here like growing in the background, and I still have AI nations around here in Western Africa that I aim to colonize or invade and conquer for new resources and territories. So yeah, all good. Mexico's been kind of fretting about me not being more open to him, but you know, I've he refuses to trade with me. He hasn't helped me. He snagged these islands, which I mean, and he's like, "Hey, dude, why aren't you my ally and helping me?" I was like, "If you need to if you need to negotiate, you need to offer something. You can't just demand something, especially if you're negotiating from a point of, well, weakness. You know, inferiority at least. You know, at least make it equally." But people in this game have a tendency to. I think they're young and their moms give them all they want, so they're like, "Hey, you're my mom, right? Give me stuff." And maybe I do, maybe I won't. We'll see. But anyway, I told him I'm going to Africa, which I am, so we're good. Anyways, that is okay. I guess that's diplomacy. I haven't even talked to Illinois. Should you do that? I'll make this video a little bit longer and so how is the situation in North America? Do you have any rares or fuel to trade me? You know, it's a good thing. You can use money all the time in this version. Before, money was a bit useless. Well, of course you could buy resources, but usually it was like one resource that was really expensive and all the others were dirt cheap. It's much more balanced now. I said it before in a lot of different videos, so sorry for repeating myself, but if you just jump in, this version 1.5 has a lot of advantages that the previous version didn't have. Okay, we're down to 4.4 in rares. Maybe I should start buying some, although I prefer to snag them in a lower bid. Even if it's only a couple percentages, it adds up here and there. Sorry, that was a parenthesis. Yeah. So I guess we can go through. Yeah, I have so much infantry and it's such a mainstay of my army, and it is something I could afford to build a lot of because I have a lot of goods, food and manpower. So I have decided to do the highest possible level of infantry in 7.5 hours, and yeah, I haven't done commandos. I don't feel I really need them. And artillery is another mainstay of my army. They cost the same resources, although they cost a little bit of metal as well. But I have quite. It's not. I have 25,000 metal and a good income of it. It's not. It's like. It's not the highest as food and goods, but I still have quite a lot of metal. So what I'm lacking is fuel, and you need that to upgrade your industry, your factories, but you also need it to build motorized tanks and airplanes. So I'm stuck kind of in a hard place where I can either expand my industry or expand my what would you call it, more modern, fast, efficient motorized forces. So I guess I'm kind of stuck in a World War One, World War Two old school artillery, infantry kind of build. I have started to build some anti-air artillery as well. Not of the highest. I'm on level 3 out of 4. They also cost no rares and no fuel. So you know, I need to defend these coastlines, and I can either do it with submarines patrolling, which cost an upkeep and a build cost of fuel, and I think some rares too, or I could do it with regular old guys. And you know, when I'm talking about it now, I realize that my defensive forces should probably not be naval forces. That is usually what I use, because then when you're done defending with the naval forces, you can use them to advance and go elsewhere, whereas kind of your infantry in forts are stuck in your home provinces. Although the threat to me is not immense right now at all. at all. It's not. I have a very hard time seeing a human player attacking me with Mexico being trying to be friendly with me. So um, again, but that's how South America is doing, and over 10,000 money, and as I said, between 1,600 and almost 2,000 resources. It's a good with 150 troops. South America is really doing well. When I started this campaign, there were 5, I think, maybe even 6 human players in South America, and I was stuck in the middle here. Now it's a huge advantage because morale decides how much resources you gain. So I guess if you're at 50% morale, you only gain 50% of the resources. Not entirely sure, but let's say let's say you have a reduction. I should probably measure that. Do you want me to do that on screen? Do we have a morale 50 province? That would be the easiest to check. Do I gain 50% resources? So Rio de Janeiro, for example, where are you? I should know that. That's the capital of Brazil. No, it's not. It's the biggest. Okay, so 53% gives you almost. So what is the full production limit? If that would be 2,000, this would kind of make sense. That, yeah, exactly, right? So I guess you gain 53% out of the full. So anyway, the point I was making now is that since my course and capital is in the center and my morale spread is stretching out in all directions, I will gain the maximum morale benefit and almost full production. Like even the southern tip here is at 95%. So not only do I have an entire continent, it's not the biggest one, but I'm stuck in the middle, and now it's an advantage. When I move into Africa, obviously it's gonna be further away, and maybe one of those days I'll have to move my capital a bit to the east so that I get benefit of my newly conquered provinces from the distance to the capital, which is quite important to gain morale rapidly. Now you have that propaganda building, which didn't exist before. Right, so we should take back these 2 provinces that revolted. So, Goias is looking very good. Might even like fully focus on conquering all of Africa, or an early 2-front war with Japan versus Germany. I don't know at this moment. I mean, you have to have bases, so whatever I do, I need a base in Western Africa. So we'll start with setting that up and that's about 1 day to just get ready, about 1 day to get across, 1 day to establish a beachhead, 1 day to blitz, and 1 day to kind of establish yourself fully. So it's gonna be like a week before I manage to do this. My little fleet here is going northwards to support that landings. Yeah, I will need some navy power to make this crossing. There could be 50 German submarines sitting here just waiting for me to cross. Who knows? Yeah, although it's always fun when it's going well for you in this game, I think since this is a free-for-all version, that's what it's called, it's not that exciting. How can I tell this is a free-for-all turn? Maybe I think it's in the newspaper. Game info. Oh yeah, solo victory, 2,700 points needed. So no one's even close to that. But the game finishes on the 11th of January. Yeah, right. So that's about. That's only a month from now. So maybe it's only 45 days. I thought it was 60 days. So what to do? Back to my games. These are my 2 games, New Zealand and Goias. Day 13. Where does it say? It doesn't say. info. Uh, Day 13. It doesn't say. Didn't know you had to be minimum 11 rank. Play. Yeah. So, well, it ends the 11th of January, so I know that I have about a month to play this campaign. Uh, it could be that, you know, I don't give it as much attention as it deserves. Just so I think that's about it. Cruisers, submarines help my land army to cross, and with artillery and infantry, basically an old school World War One army, I will invade and establish myself in Africa, where I will start building up a defense land-wise from the north, in case there forms a North American alliance. Hope you enjoyed that, even though it might not be the most exciting campaign at the moment. Feel free to post any comments in YouTube or suggestions or questions. I'll answer them as best as I can. I hope you're careful out there and that you have a good weekend. And I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye for now.